Big Fat Gay Podcast where we talk about the things that weigh on our minds. My name is Michael Willer. I am a chubby chaser, and today I'm a super satisfied fanboy boy because I got to see my soccer hero Lionel Messi play soccer last night in person at Allegiant Stadium. Check the behind the scenes for more info about that. But it was so much fun, and I'm just all agog.
Nice. My name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood, and today my eyeballs are falling out of my head because I had some free time over the week and I started playing on a PS4 that I got over Christmas, and I'm getting to play a whole catalog of games I never had access to. So,
oh my god,
Reigns of Tsushima is on my my playlist right now, and I'm loving it.
See, I was thinking like Candyland and Monopoly, and
it's like Witcher 3 in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser, and today I am a relaxed boy. It's a lovely day here in LA. The fires are not out, but subsiding. I think we have
in the right direction.
Marginal containment on many of them. The air is not terribly foul. It is toxic, but not foul. It's a difference without a distinction, perhaps. But. So anyway, yeah, I'm doing okay.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and today I'm a club chubby boy.
That's right.
We're going to Club Chub later this afternoon. They're gathering donations for the victims of the fires, people who have been impacted. It's exciting, and I'm excited to see, I don't know, old friends at Club Chub, and we have a friend in town who we're getting to take to show Club Chub. So it's
nice.
All sorts of excitement.
It should be quite the outing.
Yeah, so this is week 2 of Los Angeles fires. All of us have still been staying inside, as Dan may have referenced. I will say it's been a little surprising on my side of town. These Santa Anas that have been making the fires crazy are also driving most of the smoke out over the ocean.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's been clear air by me. It's been very strange.
Yeah, here too.
For the non-locals, that would be the wind, not little Saint Annas running around brushing the fire in the wrong direction.
Santa Ana with a broom.
That's just a bunch of fans.
Thank you to our patrons on Patreon for always supporting us. Thank you, listener, for listening. We also want to shout out Big Fig and Bearskin. Use our affiliate link to get yourself a Big Fig, or use our promo code BigFatGayPod to save 15% on your bearskin order.
Yeah.
I know you might want to get some new underwear and swimsuits because I think, are we announcing it? Is it happening now?
I think so.
Please let's do.
This summertime, once again, for the second Bigger Vegas running, we are doing a live episode at Bigger Vegas 2025. Yay! It's going to be so much fun. We're basically keeping the same format, same timing and everything as we did last time around. If you were there last time, you had a fun time, come see us. We got to hang out with people both before and after the episode and during the event. Got to talk about all the things. We try to make them interactive, like, you know, we'll do sort of a traditional episode format to start, but then we kind of open the floor to discussion. And like, we haven't fully settled on what our topics are going to be yet, because that's, you know, a good 6 months from now. But
But outside of the event, we're all big social guys. We're wandering around the place. Say hi. We're here to meet you.
That's right. They let us off the leash when we wander there.
If Trevor and I aren't hiding in our rooms, then yes, say hi to us.
Yeah. I'm going to be scooting all around. Hopefully, there was a point last year where my scooter like broke down. Because I was like, there was issues with the battery. They had to come change the battery. It was a whole adventure.
But they're very swift about this. They are equipped. And,
do look into the scooter, guys. Do not be ashamed of the scooter, because damn, that looks like so much fun. I had a great time in mine at Disneyland, and Trevor, you just looked like you were having so much fun at the last one.
I mean, it was fun, but it was also just like nice to not be
exhausted
waddling through the desert heat, and especially because like we were in kind of one of the further buildings from the hospitality suite and everything. So yeah, it's worth it, and book now because they will sell out, because not only because all of the big boys booking them, but it's also 4th of July weekend. So the scooter people are like, we're out. Like, good luck getting a scooter.
Yeah, definitely good advice. We're so excited for that. We'll keep you posted as more details arise. We hope to see you there. All right, let's dive in.
I feel like we need to hire some dancers for our live show for when we play the pop culture music. Can we get Vegas showgirls? How does that work?
Welcome to Pop Culture. We're excited about this first one. I've never watched the Kelly Clarkson Show, but this is a segment from the Kelly Clarkson Show that's available to watch on YouTube, which we're going to play a little segment for you.
A local performer is setting a goal for New York theaters. She is encouraging shows to start casting a wider variety of people for leading roles, particularly people of different body types. It's all part of her Broadway body positivity project. She's even helped get a bill passed in New York that prohibits size and height discrimination in employment. We have her on the line right now from the Broadway Body Positivity Project. Say hi to Stephanie watching on NBC New York. What's up, Steph?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi. Welcome to our show. Okay, so Stephanie, this is inspired by your own experiences, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have been in musicals, plays, operas my entire life. And specifically in the musical theater space, if I were, like, heaven forbid, above a size 8, I was no longer seen as a viable candidate to play a princess, an ingenue, a heroine. And even though I felt like my talents were most suited for those roles, and I realized it was not just my own experience, it was the lived experiences of so many performers who are mid-size, plus size, disabled, little people, trans, BIPOC. Why are we all being excluded from playing people that are worthy of love? It makes no sense. And I decided, I have the internet, I'm gonna say something.
All right, right on. Well, you also launched your Shape of a Star campaign, right? So tell us what that is.
Yeah. Oh, Kelly, this has been over 6 years in the making. Shape of a Star is a photo shoot and music video series with a cast of 6. And we're from all over the country. And we are all plus size and portraying ingenues, heroes, princesses, etc. And in our bodies as they are, because we don't need to change them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This is awesome. I'm liking your post right now, and that's not all. Our season-long partner pilot, 10 Makers of Friction, the Ghost Erasable Pin of the Kelly Clarkson Show, want to celebrate those standing up for themselves and their community, just like you, ma'am. So they're going to give you $1,000 just to pitch in however you can.
Well, hoorah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So I think this is really worth watching. Like if people go to our website and click the link, because they show some of the photos as she's talking about their actual photo shoot. There's sort of a collage of a couple of them, and they're just so cool. They're very thematic. They kind of go to these locations, and you get to see them kind of playing like I think one of them is Eliza from My Fair Lady. There's Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Anastasia.
They're just very, like, they have their costumes, they have their settings that they took the photos in, like, just really, really fun.
Well, and as somebody who's worked in theater for many years, I can tell you there's a thing where, like, let's say I do want to cast a fat actor in a particular role. It's going to get mentioned that, like, ooh, how daring, a fat actor, or like, or I've actually run into this. Well, if we cast a fat princess, geez, well, where are we going to find a fat prince to go with her? Because we can't have a normal size prince.
Right.
Like that.
Like the fat prince doesn't exist. Even if you accept that premise, like the fat prince doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like, we have to have 2 of them. Well, that just seems like apology.
And I feel like there's a sort of a natural reaction. Like, I know I used to have a natural reaction to things like this of like, well, if we're pushing back for these roles, who's going to give it to us, right? There's so much fight against it. But I want to talk real quick about a personal experience I have. 30 years ago, I was involved with a movement to try and get Asian men included in mainstream work, right? But I was working at a theater company where we brought in, there was a production we brought in called Big Dicked Asian Men, right? And that wasn't a gay thing. It was literally a group of Asian male actors that created this piece to talk about masculinity in America, and how if you were Asian, you were automatically not allowed to be masculine. You had to be a lesser masculine person than the white characters present in the scene.
Right.
And nobody could conceive of the idea of an Asian character having similar masculinity levels to a black one, right? Just showing the race dynamics in America being freaking crazy. And now we're 30 years later, and the inclusion is happening now. Like, it's you can see it moving, right? So this is a slow process, but if no one makes the noise, nothing moves.
Yeah.
So
Very
bravo.
True. Yeah.
And I appreciate that they're like, clearly they're having fun kind of just doing this, but also it gives people examples to look at of like, oh, this is how this character could be imagined. I could see, this person or that person playing this role, and you can start to like picture it for yourself, which I think is a really cool way of just like shaking up the dynamic, where anyone in this call could probably attest to this. Like, how many producers have you heard going, yeah, I just can't see it though. Like, I don't really see them in that role. Like, I don't like, and usually it's for whatever number of different biases or excuses they're bringing into it. But that's always the way they put it. It's like, oh, I just don't see it.
Well, I think it's the more direct version, which I don't know if it gets them off the hook. I think they think it does, but it's like, we could do that, but it wouldn't sell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is always the response.
Like, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm on your side. But it's what used to be called homophobia, which is, and this was before Will and Grace. This was always the argument before Will and Grace, which was, well, I'm okay with gay people. And obviously you're gay, but we can't put you on television because I'm afraid of the people who are afraid of the homosexuals.
Right. Yeah. Makes total sense.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of coming back, but
yeah, in a big
like
way.
A little neck collar pull. No, I love this. I love the work Stephanie's doing. They've done the photo shoots, but I don't think they've done the music videos yet, which I am excited to see.
Yeah, I had trouble finding some of the stuff, but I guess Michael did.
I'm also familiar with Ron Blakely, who did one of the NAFA webinar, the brunches. Ron was one of the performers, and they are just so talented. I love the idea of them in the role of Hercules, and just I don't know. I'm excited to see all of this come to life even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things we talked about last week was the fires, people losing their homes, and our concern about fat people being able to access clothing when some of our fat brothers and sisters may have lost their entire freaking wardrobe overnight and might be having to face the next couple days in whatever clothes they happen to be wearing when they fled. Trevor, but you started finding some articles talking about groups working around this and trying to help.
Yeah. So Phoria Fits, which is a community-powered resource for plus-size, gender-expansive, and eco-conscious clothing, compiled this list. It's an Instagram post of 8 LA brands that cater to plus-size people, and kind of either like how they've been impacted by the fires or things they're doing to help fat community through these times. And I thought this was just a good resource to share for our listeners, to just find some new brands, but also support, plus size owned businesses during these times, plus size businesses in LA. But I also just wanted to talk about, because I had not heard of it, or at least maybe I just saw it in passing. So I checked out this website, and it is amazing because basically they have all of these different plus size brands on, over 340, and they have user ratings, and then they also kind of break down like green flags, yellow flags, red flags for the brands, because they're really focused on providing eco-friendly plus size clothing, which is often not the case. It is a lot of fast fashion. It is a lot of polyester. There's a lot of microplastics.
I like one of their articles that talked about, why is all plus size clothing polyester? I'm hot. And I love the two meanings of that. Like, I'm hot. I don't want to be dressed in polyester because I'm more fashionable. And it's fucking polyester, and I'm sweltering in this.
The website is also really well laid out. Like, you can search by, like, they at the top, right at the top of the website on their homepage, they have popular searches, and they have suggestions like natural fibers, tall plus size, petite plus size, custom sizes, gender neutral, small businesses, women run, masculine styles, brand look. Like, you just have these like easy access points to things that are relevant to you. The big header on their website is find your fit, skip the bullshit. Which is kind of awesome.
You can make a profile and list your measurements, and then it'll kind of aggregate the data to be like, okay, here are brands that will work for you.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like a perfect resource.
For people who are maybe a little newer to the podcast, we have dipped into the clothes area many times, and sizing for bigger people has been the bane of many of our existences.
Well, Don, they actually have an article about how sizing is so ridiculously variable from brand to brand, even from design to design.
Yeah.
Even in some big and tall men shops, like I am convinced that some of these shirts have never been introduced to a fat body before.
No. But to bring it back to the Instagram post, specifically about local LA businesses, it's really cool because they aggregate both businesses that are helping support, local people that need relief, but also businesses that have been affected who may have lost, like power at their business. And so they're not able to do any shipping, or maybe even lost their brick and mortar store, like things like that. So you can have multiple access points to how you want to support. If you want to donate clothes, they say which ones are accepting donations. And it's such a great little perfect, like bite-size resource.
Yeah. I will say in terms of donating clothes, the general consensus at this point is like donate money or buy a gift card from the business or something, because community really showed up with clothes. And a lot of these people who have been collecting clothes are kind of at capacity with like what they can manage, at least right now. And the same with nonprofits they've connected to that are distributing clothes. But I think this will be ongoing. I think it's kind of like a pause on donations of physical clothing, or at least non-new clothing. Like they do need underwear, they need socks.
Yeah, we should say though that like it is not just an excuse to empty your closets.
Yeah,
like, we're talking about new or almost new, and like you've washed it very few times because it didn't need it. It's not stained, it's not ripped, it's not repaired, it's not.
There have been a lot of articles of just like people with the best intentions donating things like this is still good. It's fine. Like, and not even just like not clothing, but like, they clean out their pantry. Like, oh, I don't need all of this food. And it's, expired in 1987. a puffy can.
Apparently, like a lot of like Christmas donations show up in January of like endless amounts of pumpkin pie filling.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Anyway, maybe you're a little anxious after a fire discussion. So Eagly, just
take us into Fat Watch.
Fat Watch 2025.
There.
That's Eagly. He's dropping a ton of water, putting out the fires of fear and anxiety with
but I don't see him holding a bucket. Where is he carrying the? Oh,
taking the energy down a little bit from the Fat Watch Eagle intro. Lizzo posted a video on her Instagram and presumably elsewhere with just like a guided, like a short little, like 1 minute long guided meditation. So we're going to give you a little teaser of it. We're not going to do the whole thing, but this is what you can expect from Lizzo's guided meditation.
Take a moment to reflect in the present. Take deep breaths with me.
Oh, yeah.
Be aware of your breath. Whether you're laying down or sitting up or working out, allow your body to just be. Unclench your jaw. Relax your shoulders.
My jaw is clenched at this moment.
Let your tongue drop from the roof of your mouth.
Anyway, it's more of that. I was impressed by the way that I'm pretty sure, I guess it's not a shock because she's a musician, professional musician, but that like, I don't know what it is that she's hitting.
The sounding bowl?
Yeah. Her timing on that is really precise over the course of.
Yeah, it might have something to do with it. She's a symphony musician.
I know. It's not that I was surprised she could do it. It's that I was impressed with how
it happened. Yeah.
Effective. Yeah. And she's just playing these chimes. There's this voiceover helping guide you through a meditation. She does breathing exercises.
And she looks fabulous. Can I just say?
Yeah. It's just very calming. It's sort of what you need these days.
I like this because I think in 2020, 5 years ago when we started this podcast and had a very unexpected year, we also shared some Lizzo meditation. So I like kind of coming full circle and having that little treat, that ASMR unclenching our jaws. And unclenching our jaws so we can go into our main topic and enjoy some comfort food.
That's why I married him, boys. That's why I married him.
That's a great segue.
So we're recording this on January 19th, and it is coming out after the inauguration. And it's just been kind of an unpredictable year so far. So we were kind of like, let's do a little easy squeezy. And I used the word cinnamon toasty. I wanted a cinnamon toasty episode. I wanted something easy and
comforting.
Yeah, comforting, like cinnamon toast, which was something like my mom would make us when we were sick or having a little like a bad day. Just some very plain white bread, some butter, some cinnamon sugar.
Yeah, my mom did the exact same thing. I'm kind of curious, like how many other people for whom cinnamon toast was a thing, because it's not something I ever saw other people doing, but it very much is that, like, I don't know, it's just it's warm, it's buttery, it's cinnamony, it's sweet, it's so comforting. It's just delightful.
I have a very different context of comfort food. Like when you talk about your parents making you cinnamon toast, I think about my mother trying to lock the cabinet so I couldn't get a cookie.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a very different toolbox for me. There's something illicit about and naughty about comfort food that I can't escape.
I think that's true for so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true for so many people.
Well, and I think it's hard because I do think there's a lot of people where there's trauma around that because they were denied comfort food, or then frequently there is also the thing of they feel they seek too much comfort in food, or they might have an eating disorder or something. But I think it is nourishment. You need food to live. And I think allowing yourself to take comfort in that, in the same way that I think it's good for people to take comfort in movement and find joyful movement, even if you've had kind of trauma around exercise or, felt like you've taken it too far.
I think there could be something really useful in sort of understanding Trevor's point of view with comfort food and my perspective of the terror around it, right?
The terror of comfort food. I love that. That's really so apt.
I think for me, having to confront my issues with comfort food was one of the things that let me realize I had to confront the fact that food actually does have some power over me, something I spent a lot of my life trying to deny, right? If I can accept that comfort food has the ability to change my emotions, to bolster me in some way, that means I have to admit that food has a fundamental emotional effect on me. And once I can accept that, I can move forward with food in a lot of other ways, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that was a very useful walking point to understand.
Yeah. And for anyone who's thinking like, well, that just sounds like an eating disorder. No, if you can believe that being hungry alters your mood, then you can also believe that eating alters your mood. And there are certain, and that different foods have, yes, they have psychological attachments, but there's also just, how serotonin gets made and from carbohydrate. And
none of this is a negative thing.
No. And that it is more logical than not that what you eat influences how you feel, that food is often mood.
Yeah. And I just to tack onto that, there's so many different ways to come into it. I mean, obviously not discounting like eating disorders and the way that people are sort of, struggling with that aspect of dealing with food and restrictive dieting and all of those different things. Like that's a huge component of this. But there is another aspect of it, which at least for me is like, as somebody with ADHD, which is a sort of dopamine disorder, the effect that food has for me is very much like that hit of dopamine that my body doesn't give me. Like it's actually a craving based on a biological deficiency that I am, and so like so much of my life has been spent because I was late diagnosed ADHD. That didn't happen until basically 5 or so years ago. And so much of my life has been like chasing sweets. Like, oh, he's got a sweet tooth. But then like similar to Don, like my parents, like, yeah, they made cinnamon toast for me, but also they were like very much like, don't eat sweet things unless it's a special occasion. So for the longest time, I thought, oh, it was the reverse psychology of, well, you can't eat sweets, so now I crave sweets. But I think that was always going to be the case because sweets give me dopamine. You know, I talk to anybody with ADHD, like it was actually really good. Somebody told me it's essentially like your brain is sort of predisposed to fall asleep, like in quotes, like fall asleep unless it is stimulated with something that gives you dopamine, something that wakes you up. You're constantly trying to wake yourself up. And so like that access to food is genuinely just like a useful tool to kind of keep you going until you figure out like a diagnosis, have other stimulants to help kind of keep you going. It's actually important.
It can be a species of self-medicating. Yeah.
And not to feel, but the point was not to feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
Not to hang yourself up on, which for the longest time I did.
Okay. I want to hear about your comfort foods.
I do too.
Yes.
So I have a comfort food. So I love drinking coffee in the morning. I love espresso. I love other types of coffee. We always are experimenting with different types, but there is one that is definitely a comfort food coffee.
Oh my!
Which is Vietnamese iced coffee, or Vietnamese style iced coffee. Like there's a certain
unfamiliar with this brew. What is Vietnamese style coffee?
There's a certain brand of coffee, a certain type of coffee beans that you get. It's not Arabica, it's the other one,
Robusta, and
you brew it in a particular way. It's extremely potent. It's kind of like somewhere between coffee and espresso. Like it's very, very strong, especially if you tamp it down firmer. It like takes longer for it to brew. And then you pour it, you can pour it over ice, but the trick is that it's made with sweetened condensed milk as the sweetening agent. And also, but it gives this like luxurious, like silky texture, and it's sweet and it's strong. It's got the caffeine kick, but it's just, it takes forever to make, like if you're making 2 batches like we do, but it's so worth the wait.
That is, so what you're talking about here, that coffee hit, that coffee pleasure, that is something I so envy coffee drinkers. I really wish I was able to develop that taste for coffee because they get a pleasure out of coffee.
Yeah, but you know, Don, the British get that from tea very often. It's like to and
I think they're crazy. I love tea, but like I've never received a visceral hit of pleasure from tea.
I wonder then if it's just an association, because I definitely get that pleasure from coffees and even sometimes from tea if it's black tea.
I think it's definitely an association thing because it took me a long time to come around to coffee. I didn't really like it that much. And I think it started to change for me when I would drive to set like early in the morning and I was dragging and like you're just trying to wake yourself up. And I started associating coffee with the excitement of working on a film set. And suddenly like the emotional attachment to a routine, to something that became part of the routine of like doing something I love, that shifted it for me. That's what broke me through. And I think if I were just trying to like force myself to drink more coffee without that, it wouldn't have had the same impact.
I remember you discovering those Starbucks like cold iced coffee drinks on set.
Yeah, the nitro cold brew.
Yeah, you completely you had a problem for a little while.
That's where it all began. Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, it's morning ritual is extremely important to me. And I've always needed a hot beverage. Sometimes it's been yerba mate. Sometimes it's been coffee. Sometimes it's been hot chocolate.
My access point to coffee was getting dirty chais.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'd get
that's a chai with coffee in it, or
and I started with just like one shot, and then liked it and liked the richness, like the depth the coffee added. Then like I built my way up. And then I was able to just kind of do coffee. But I still prefer kind of, a more like sweet treat coffee than just like straight black coffee.
Yeah. Trevor's coffee could be more closely resembles a dessert than a morning wake up call.
Yeah.
I think sweets are sort of what people most associate with comfort food. I brought 2 comfort foods to discuss today. The first one is a sweet. And for me, it's just straight up chocolate chip cookies, right?
Yeah.
I prefer them with nuts, but I am the guy that likes the chocolate chip cookies that are crunchy on the outside, chewy on the inside. Sort of like the old fashioned Toll House cookie, that sort of thing, which I find are harder to find now. I can only find like crunchy or soft, and I hate soft.
Yeah.
I don't get soft.
I'm with you, Don, 1,000%.
I don't get it. I find no comfort in soft cookies.
I'm with you on that. I want the cookie to have some chew to it. I want it to have like a satisfying little crispy crunch when you bite through. Chocolate chip.
It's going to fight me a little bit.
I'm one of those weird people where like I like chocolate chip, but I want it to be fewer chocolate chips, like just a few. That's my thing. Like I want like one every other bite, that kind of thing.
Oh wow, that seems very light.
Yeah, well, and I'm one of those weird people that is not. I enjoy chocolate, but I'm not like a chocolate fiend. So I kind of want
a cookie with chocolate chips.
Like to me,
not a chocolate chip cookie.
The more exciting part of a chocolate chip cookie is like having like Malden salt sprinkled on the top, because I just love salt and sweet. That's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Quick question for the chocolate chip lovers. So those chocolate drop cookies, where it's a little sugar cookie with a Hershey's Kiss pressed in the middle. Does that hit the same? It doesn't hit the same button for me. Like it's just doesn't.
But I think that's because I think people who grew up with like, I think it's like a Christmas cookie that like some like, you know, their grandma made those little drop cookies with the Hershey's Kiss and they love that. But that's not, that ain't me.
What about Dan?
Yeah, I think for me, the only thing, I'm not a big sweets guy, but I do, like if I thought of like my favorite candy, it would be my grandma's Scotcheroos.
Ooh.
Oh, what is that? Like a butterscotch?
No, think of a Rice Krispie treat made with peanut butter and having like a chocolate top on it, like a chocolate hat.
Sounds delicious. I've never heard of it.
Exquisite. And they're very chewy, and you press them into a pan, and they're luscious.
What was it called again, Dan?
A Scotcheroo. You can look it up.
Scotcheroo.
I mean, she got it off the back of some box of something.
Yeah,
but it's delicious. But I mean, for me, comfort food, I think a lot of people associate comfort food more with the savory things like mac and cheese, a poutine, something with French fries. For me, this is going to sound crazy. And I was like, really, Dan? Sushi is your comfort food?
I have sushi on my list too.
I understand that.
I don't get why, but I do.
I do too.
I don't know why.
It's such a, it's so good. It just scratches.
But it's ridiculous, right?
I don't know how else to scratch.
It's a weird thing. Like, I don't think of cold food as comforting
cold raw fish.
in general.
No,
except for ice
here's
cream.
What it is. Here's what I think it is. I think it is the rice, the white rice. Because there you get your little carb hit, you get the sweet, you get the salty. There's a lot of things going on there.
Yeah.
I'm going to put another Japanese one on that dish of what do you call it? Tonkatsu?
Oh yeah.
Where you have like the pork cutlet over the rice, but the rice has the broth in it and the
isn't
onions.
And isn't the cutlet, it's pan fried, right? It's like a fried.
It's pan fried, breaded, usually served with an egg over it that cooks with the broth. And but it's the rice in that's the comfort for me. That's why I was listening to you talk about the sushi.
I think rice is very comforting. So like when I think of comfort food, I think of things that I eat when I'm sick.
Okay.
And one of my favorite things when I'm sick is chicken ramen, but I like do very little liquid. So it's like super condensed.
It's like wet noodles.
Oh, it's like a bouillon cube with noodles, for fuck's sake.
No, I totally understand that.
With like a glass of ice and a diet Canada Dry ginger ale with a lot of lemon. And if I'm really stuffed up, I'll put some hot sauce on the noodles.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just kind of like help clear everything. And it's just like the steamy noodles.
He's a very happy boy.
Just like super chickeny, like umami, salty. With the ginger and the lemon. Also like chicken, like a creamier chicken soup with rice.
Yeah.
Or like the Greek soup with the lemon.
Avgo lemino.
The chicken orzo. I think as Americans, I don't know if it's a worldwide thing, but as Americans, we are programmed to look for chicken soups when we feel physically ill. I don't know if I crave it when I'm feeling emotionally off center, but I definitely when I'm sick, I'm looking for that chicken soup.
A warm, savory, salty liquid feels good on your throat when you're sick. I wonder if there's anybody. Personally, I do not like soups. I better be damn sick if I'm going to have soup. And I'm wondering, like, I don't think there's such a thing as comfort salad. Is there?
I've never heard of it.
I just don't think anybody reaches for the romaine when they need lifting.
I mean, I could see like a Caesar salad to me is kind of it's in the world of comfort food because it's so satisfying, but I wouldn't I wouldn't treat it that way. Like I wouldn't go, give me a Caesar salad for comfort. Like
I could see like an egg salad being a comfort thing.
Like under the right when we speak of salad in the Eastern European sense, a salad involving a lot of mayonnaise and potatoes.
A salad, I'm just thinking of like being sick. A salad sounds terrible because it's like so much work, and you gotta like open. You gotta be like,
I will say that the second axis of comfort food that I was bringing in, I've got my cookies on the one side, I've got my casseroles on the other.
Yeah.
Macaroni and cheese, tuna casserole, turkey tetrazzini, like all of those sort of like stick them in a tray, make them creamy, get some noodles or potatoes in there and bake until crunchy on top.
Give me carbs, give me cheese.
My mom would make a chicken pot pie.
Yep.
But like chicken pot pie with biscuits on top.
Oh, wow.
Because it was like, she was making a lot of chicken pot pie.
More like a chicken cobbler.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a homemade chicken pot pie. I've only had frozen. Like I just don't really associate it as being a thing.
Answer me this. The thing I always think about chicken pot pie is there's two problems. One, it arrives at the table as lava. You need to wait a half an hour before it's safe to get near it because of the radiation belt.
Yeah.
And then two, inevitably, it to me, it just is like somebody put soup in a pie.
It should be thicker than that.
And it's just not. And given my disposition about soup, you can imagine my reaction.
No, well, I think it's the crust to gravy ratio that makes a good pot pie, right? So if you're in that situation, you've got a bad pot pie because you've got too much gravy and not enough crust to make it awesome.
No, I think that's
anyway,
valid.
Sorry, Michael.
I have one last one. I don't know why. I guess just because we did it enough times, but I have an intense comfort association with lo mein noodles with playing D&D.
Really?
Like, because I don't know why, but it's always the combination to beat. I can't really have lo mein noodles. Like, there's a whole flour gluten thing that doesn't. But I crave it. I want it so much.
Michael,
it's so comforting.
Check into the rice noodles in your area. All of the rice noodles should be safe for you to eat.
Yeah, like I'll get like pad thai, which is made with rice noodles, and it's fine. It's good. It doesn't have the same chew to it that flour noodles do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but I think again in American food, I feel like Chinese food specifically has a lot of sort of like American comfort foods in there with like hot and sour soup, egg drop soup. It's the chicken soup adjacent thing. And all that sort of Chinese takeout, I think is, I don't know, the convenience of it is comforting. I don't know.
I like egg drop.
I think, to Michael's point about acid, I think acid, when you're a little acid on the throat, when you're feeling sick, actually is wonderful, like a hot and sour soup, because it cuts through the mucus.
It depends. Yeah.
There's so much mucus in the back of my throat.
Well, congested is one thing, but if you have a sore throat, acid is like hell.
I don't know. Orange juice, lemon juice.
I will say a lot of people in my area, they reach for the tom kha kai when they're sick, right? That's the Thai, like lemongrass chicken soup with coconut milk, and it'll clear out your sinuses without being spicy. It's like sour. It's delicious.
Yeah.
I think one last comfort food for me, and this is like if I'm sick or just like there's times where like I will just be like running on fumes and then I'll just be on empty and like sick because I haven't eaten. Where like just nothing sounds good or just like I'm afraid of upsetting my stomach. Peanut butter and jelly anytime, any place.
Yeah.
At like
absolutely
traveling. There's been times where like I've been at, one of those airport convenience stores and like seeing the sandwiches, like I don't want to mess with salami turkey if they have a PB&J.
Yeah. Well, if you're given a choice between day-old refrigerated lettuce in a pre-made sandwich or PB&J, you're going to pick the PB&J.
Yeah. PB&J is one of those sandwiches that kind of like gets better the more that you kind of let it sit with the bread. Now, if you're making your own, do you ever do toasted PB&J or do you stick with the traditional?
Only toasted.
Well,
only
as the person who makes all of Trevor's homemade PB&J sandwiches.
I make my own peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but if
I'm not home.
If I am on empty, I will just kind of look at Dan pathetically like, will you make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yes. And no, it's funny because then there are lots of parameters like, which bread, is it toasted?
Okay. What is the J? What is the default J for
always
all of you?
Strawberry jam. There was a point
where strawberry jam.
Dan, we actually have a friend who likes apricot jam, which good on him. But the time Dan proposed that, when we had apricot jam in the fridge, the disgust I felt. No apricot jam.
Yeah.
I will also do raspberry jam.
Yes.
We have a listener that made some loquat jam that I got to try. That was delicious.
Yes.
It was so good.
Yes.
Do we have anything more to bring to the comfort food conversation?
I think
folks?
that's a pretty good list. Listener, if you're needing some
more comfort
over the next week/year.
Listeners, send us your comfort foods, and don't be like, okay, I'm sure someone else. No, you listen. You. Yes, you.
By the way, Trevor, be clear. Do you mean that you want a package of food to show up at the door, or do you want?
No. I want to hear. I want letters. I want voice notes. I want maybe send us a little recorded video on Instagram.
Oh, that would be delightful.
Watch it.
Maybe the next in-person episode we can make some of those comfort foods and have them. That'd be fun. Or we could do a little mini-sode of it.
Yes.
Anyway, do we have a tip for this week?
We do.
We do. As a tip, if you want some comfort food for your brain, some brain food, there is a new book out that is called Weight and Wisdom, Reflections on Decades of Working for Body Liberation. And this is edited by Nancy Ellis Ordway and Tigress Osborne, frequent feature on the podcast and executive director of NAFA. And the foreword is by Caleb Luna, who we featured in a previous tip for their book of prose.
So the sort of introduction to the book, if you want to check it out, is over the last 50 years in the United States, the medical establishment, the beauty industry, and the mainstream media have relentlessly forwarded the belief that fat is unattractive and unhealthy. While many believe that anti-fat ideas went unchallenged until the rise of body positivity, there have always been resistors. In the world of eating disorder treatment, health at every size advocacy, and fat activism, challengers to our cultural narratives have championed another way for decades.
Huzzah.
Yes. Check it out. It's available wherever books are sold. They also, on the website for the book, I'll link to it, they have a form you can fill out to bring to your library to request that your library purchase the book. So that you could check it out, that it is in your library's collection for all to check out. So maybe do that too.
Yeah.
Don, do we have a bit?
Don was very excited about the bit.
Our bit today, it's an experiment, and I'm hoping it's going to work.
Oh.
I'm calling this bit Somebody Feed Don.
Okay.
But ultimately, all of us are going to get fed. Dan, you are going to be our first person to go. There's going to be, first off, you're going to have to do some shopping. You're going to go to 2 different locations, and in each location, there are 2 different ingredients. You're going to pick one. Okay? Mm-hmm. So just pick 2 of these locations. One, the children's table, the butcher shop, the candy store, the garden, the dairy, the flower shop, the office break room, the bakery, the mini fridge, or the bar.
Okay, absolutely the butcher shop.
Okay.
And you gave me so many choices. Wait, let me think about that.
It's the ones that jump out at you.
Dairy.
The dairy, yep. Dan, take a pick. At the butcher shop, which ingredient would you like to work with? Pork or chicken?
Pork.
All right. And at the dairy, would you like to work with brie or ricotta?
Ricotta.
Okay. Gentlemen, Trevor, Michael, and Don will be attempting to come up with a dish that incorporates ricotta and pork. And the best, most creative dish Dan picks, that person will get a point.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm willing to go first because I'm I'm very basic. I think I have to go with a really like a lasagna bolognese, I think. With like a rich pork meat sauce filling inside, ricotta well made with garlic and all the good stuff. That's what I'm putting in front of you. My lasagna bolognese, expertly made.
It should be said that like in Italy, like when I growing up, meat sauce never meant beef. It certainly never meant ground beef. It was always pork bones. Yeah.
I'm thinking some kind of ricotta, ravioli, fig, pancetta, like pork.
There's the pancetta. Okay.
Like some kind of porky fig ricotta, ravioli situation.
That sounds amazing. All right, Michael, can you top it?
I'm drawing a blank. I've never cooked with ricotta before, so I pass. Those both sound good to me.
Dan, of the 2 recipes put in front of you, which sounds more appealing?
I really like the idea of a really meaty, porky lasagna. I think that's a winner.
Right. Point for Dawn. Yay. Trevor or Michael, which of you would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay, Trevor. Your shopping locations include the children's table, the candy store, the garden, the flower shop, the office break room, the bakery, the mini fridge, or the bar.
The children's table and the break room.
Oh, God.
Okay. Break room. Okay. At the children's table, you find hot dogs or chicken nuggets.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. And in the office break room, you find coffee or donuts.
Coffee, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Our chopped basket for Trevor's meal includes hot dogs and coffee. Let's see. Michael, you got the most time last time. No, technically Dan did. So Dan, you get to go first on this one.
Okay. So I think there's only one thing to be done here. Meaning that's all I can think of. The hot dogs are bacon wrapped and a red eye gravy made with coffee.
Ooh.
That's bold. Oh, I have an idea actually.
All right, Michael.
Let me think this through a little bit. Okay, so I think we do a traditional hot dog and a bun and a chili made kind of.
Oh, smart boy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. You can, because I feel like there are like coffee chilies that I've seen before where you can kind of bring out this like earthy nuttiness to the chili.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm going to go with baked beans scenario with coffee baked beans worked into the sauce with the hot dogs chopped up and baked into the baked beans.
Like Franken beans kind of style.
Trevor,
okay.
Which of those three dishes appeals?
I mean, I think the bacon wrapped hot dog with the coffee gravy, just because I feel like that's the purest.
Yeah.
And it
would definitely highlight the coffee more.
I'm just I would not have thought of a red eye gravy.
Point for Dan. Michael, the places you have left to shop at are the candy store, the garden, the flower shop, the bakery, the mini fridge, or the bar.
Let's do the garden and the flower shop. Let's go a totally different direction.
I was really hoping for the bar.
I know.
Okay. Michael, at the garden, you have a choice between mint or tomato.
I don't really like mint that much, so let's do tomato.
Okay. And in the garden, the flower shop, you have lavender or rose water.
Ooh, I don't like either of those. Fuck. Okay. Rose water. Good luck.
All right. Rose water and tomato. Trevor, you're our most accomplished chef, I think. So I'm going to throw it your way first. What are you going to do with tomato and rose water?
This may be impossible. I'm curious what you guys come up with.
I'm trying to think of what fruit I see in like those salads. Like tomato and like a nectarine granita with some mint, okay. I guess. And rose water and just like the littlest, like walk it by because rose water is so strong.
It's so
like a summer granita with tomato, nectarine, rose water, some lemon, mint.
Sounds amazing.
I think that's really
I would try that. That sounds amazing.
Okay. Ready for mine?
Yeah, do it.
Buckle up. I am making a Persian gazpacho.
Okay. All right.
So we're doing, and so here are the ingredients. You've got the pureed tomato, olive oil, a little bit of the rose water, but also saffron and some cashew butter.
Wow. I could see that being really good or horrific.
Yeah, I'd have to make it to find out.
I have no idea.
And it's always down to the fucking rose water. The rest of that sounds.
It's really about delicious. Handling the rose water like it's uranium. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm also going out on a limb. I'm thinking a fresh summer salad.
Okay.
Of fresh tomatoes, watermelon, mixed berries, that sort of thing, and then dressed in a rosewater dressing where the rosewater gets to be sort of distributed among, lightening it up with other flavors to make a bright rosewater dressing to go over the whole mix.
So I think this is interesting because I was leaning towards the gazpacho, and I don't typically like the kind of salad that Don described, but I think the only way to harness that rosewater without me being like put off is to put it with other really strong flavors in a dressing, like a vinaigrette. It'll be there, but maybe it won't, because I don't like rosewater, and I also don't like lavender. So these are all kind of doomed.
Lavender's easier though.
Lavender, I guess, is easier, but I actually like lavender less than rosewater.
Whoa.
Like I've had rosewater.
I actually agree with you, Michael.
I can't stand lavender.
I'm in the same boat. All right, we're gonna do one last one. That's two for me, by the way, just saying.
But he was counting.
Trevor, you pick one for me. And Michael, you'll pick the other. So I'm picking between candy store, bakery, mini fridge, or bar.
Candy store.
All right, one for the candy store.
Do I make this harder or easier?
It's up to you.
Bar.
The bar.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so for the candy store, I am picking between Red Hot Candies or Goobers.
Oh,
and for the bar, I am picking between Sherry or Peanuts. I think I'm going to give you guys a challenge. We're going to go with Goobers and Sherry. All right. Goobers, for those of you not in the know, are chocolate covered peanuts, and Sherry is Sherry is Sherry.
It's a fortified wine. Yeah.
So I will be the judge on this one.
Oh, I have an idea.
Okay, Michael, you're first this time.
I think we do a really lush vanilla ice cream. With the Goobers kind of crumbled up around it. That's chocolate and peanuts, and a sherry reduction sauce that gets kind of glazy, syrupy.
Ooh.
I think that's a good use. Yeah.
That sounds very nice.
It's better than what I had in mind.
It really highlights both flavors too. I think that sounds really nice.
It's funny. I'm in the complete opposite direction of like, some kind of like mole-ish chicken taco.
Nice. Oh, that's fabulous.
And like some of the like a little sherry in the mole sauce, but then also kind of like a cabbagey acidic thing with like some sherry vinegar.
So would you like puree the Goobers and like okay.
And it's like a little taco, and it's like a little one bite, like here's your treat, Judge.
Sounds great. Dan?
Okay. So this is probably going to be disgusting. But it's all I got. So I'm going to make a cocktail, and it's going to be cream based with a little bit of the sherry and a little bit of some 43 and a little bit of vodka. And the garnish will be Goobers. There'll be a foam on top that the Goobers will sit
floating
on.
goober.
Nice.
A floating goober.
Okay.
I love Michael's look like that is gonna not work.
I'm really trying to imagine it.
They all sound amazing or interesting at the very least. Michael, I got to say, I'm tempted by that sherry sauce over the ice cream with that sounds really good. But I got to say, Trevor, you incorporated both the ingredients
that mole
masterfully.
Is inspired. Yeah,
I have to say the mole sauce sounds like an incredible idea.
Well, I hope it tastes good.
It's got Goobers. How could it not?
The other ingredients that you missed were the bakery, where we had the option between Southern biscuits, American biscuits, or butter cookies, and the mini fridge choosing between beer and wine.
Okay,
that's all.
Oh, all right.
Dear listener, do you have a interesting combination of flavors that you think we should try? Trevor, where can they tell us about that?
Well, we're on Instagram and Blue Sky as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Met as hell now. Who knows what the future holds? Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BigFatGayPod. Leave us reviews everywhere. See the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgaypod.com. Everything is burning, baby.
Because we're on fire.
The world is an oyster, and we're the pearl trying to stay inside. Maybe you have ideas for ingredients, and you're opening the fridge to get them, and we're inside, so watch out.